and conspiracies. Peering into darkness is what we do. Derek and Sharon Gilbert break it all down for you.
Thank you, AI Elvis, and welcome to the program. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I am Sharon Gilbert, and welcome to our home, everyone. We're delighted that you've chosen to join with us once again as we approach this festive season. And I just put a Christmas wreath on our door yesterday.
Oh, no.
I did.
Well, it's a good thing we don't live in the south of England.
It's a good thing we don't live in Portsmouth.
Well, we will tell you about that as we discuss the collapse of Western civilization around us.
Oh, good grief.
But before we do that, please take a moment, download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet. We've got apps for iOS, Android, and Amazon Kindle Fire devices. Mm-hmm. Go to the app store of your choice. We got links at gilberthouse.org/app or pidradio.com/app.
And now that song is going to be in your head all day.
Yes, it is.
I love that song. It was created using an AI program. And, of course, it's not Elvis.
No. Celebrity voice impersonated.
Yes, it is. But, I tell you.
They came up with a great little tune. It's like, wow, first try out. Let's keep that.
And yes, PID stands for peering into darkness, but you and I know the end. We've read the end. We know the Lord has won, and therefore we can rejoice in all things.
Yes, and that is why we can laugh at these things, because we know, as per Psalm 2, the nations rage and imagine a vain thing.
And the Lord laughs with derision at them.
Yes, he does, because he will set his anointed, his Messiah, on his holy mountain. That would be Zion, for those of you keeping score.
Mm-hmm.
So, Portsmouth. What's going on in Portsmouth?
Portsmouth is it's a harbor town. It's not too far from, what's the other big one that's down there?
Bristol?
No. It's I think it was a big shipbuilding area. It was a dry dock back in the Henry the 7th or 8th time. So it is right on the channel in the far south of England. And because it's in the far south of England, it's very possible that they have a diverse population. And I wonder how diverse it is because their flag is a crescent moon with a star.
With a star, yeah. That is an interesting thing to note. Looking at the map now. Hello, show me the map. Show me, Southampton. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's right. It's just, across from the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on the south coast of the UK, and major port city there. As I recall, there was a major battle there fought back in the 5th century, the time just preceding King Arthur, but I digress.
Well, that is entirely possible. But it's a relatively good-sized town. I think that there are certain rules back in the day. In order to be called a city, you had to have a cathedral or a minster is what they would have called it, like Westminster. Right. To be called a town, you had to have a marketplace, and you'll notice those market towns over in England, they also always have some sort of tall device at the center to show where the center of the town sits. Mm-hmm. So you might have a statue. You might have an obelisk.
Yeah. That was a big thing, especially after Egypt became much more popular in the later, not late antiquity, but like say the 18th, 19th centuries.
Well, I'll tell you what's not popular is putting a wreath on your door. So
and by the way, just a quick note, I just looked up the history of Portsmouth coat of arms with the crescent moon and the 8-pointed star. That dates back to King Richard the Lionheart.
That's really crazy.
1194, the symbol likely came from his seal, which incorporated elements from the Byzantine Prince of Cyprus after the Third Crusade.
Well, what's really interesting, if you look at the coat of arms, it's got that, the crescent moon and the star. Above it, you've got references to knighthood. You've got a helmet. On the left, as you're looking at it, you have a lion that appears to have a fish's tail.
Interesting.
And then on the right, and top you've still got a representation. There are three little versions of the flag. And on the right, you have a unicorn.
With a fish's
which
tail.
has a fish's tail.
Yeah.
Now, this may be saying something about the fact that it's Navy, that they were building ships. I don't know.
Which Cyprus would have been a maritime
Well,
power.
that's why I'm saying that it has something to do with the Navy and the idea of having power. But yeah, the below it you have Heaven's Light, Our Guide. So this can be interpreted in a number of ways.
Yeah, but Richard the Lionheart was featured in Raymond Ibrahim's book, Defenders of the West.
Mm-hmm. And he was legit. He genuinely was trying to make a difference.
Right. And he was actually the only, one of the only Crusader kings or Crusader military leaders who never lost a battle to Saladin. In fact, I think he was the only one. I was going to say the only one who ever defeated Saladin in battle, but now that we're reading Raymond's new book, The Two Swords of Christ, we know that that's not true, that the Knights Templar actually fought a battle against Saladin and chased him back to Egypt.
They did.
But, Richard engaged Saladin in battle, I think, 3 times and didn't lose, which was unique for the Crusaders. Saladin was the one who basically broke the power of the Crusaders at the Battle of Hattin in 1187 or something like that. But anyway.
Well, what was interesting is that would have been a, I don't know, stepbrother or something to Richard was the king of France, who I think was Philip was it the fourth? It was Philip something, and would have been pronounced Philippe. But he went down with Richard, fought one battle, if I remember, and then went home.
Yeah.
So we'll
Victory!
Bookmark that.
Yeah.
That idea.
I was right, 1187.
Very
Victory
good.
for me.
Bookmark that idea of Philippe going home. And we'll get to a story about France in a minute. But in the meantime, Portsmouth, no wreaths on doors.
Yeah, the city council sent a message out to residents in the council flats. It was a Section 41 warning. It has come to our attention that you are using the communal area, meaning the door, which is part of the council flat. I don't know if it's an external door, if it's a door in a hallway of an apartment building.
To be communal, you would think it would be an external door.
You would think.
But I mean, who's in charge of putting one? But anyway, yes.
And it's actually got a picture of the person's door, and the person who got this notice.
Okay.
It's come to our attention you are using the communal area to keep personal items such as a Christmas wreath, a non-standard door number, which is a little handmade plaque hanging next to the door. It looks like a little Christmas basket or a sleigh or something with the numbers. I spoke to you in order to explain that you will need to remove these items. Portsmouth City Council would like to remind you that you must not leave items in the communal areas. This is in line with your tenancy agreement, which you agreed to abide by, and health and safety legislation, which the City Council must abide by. How is the hanging of a wreath on a door a violation of health and safety?
I don't know, but don't they get into the fire hazard? You said that?
Well, you mentioned that, and I don't see it in this article here, but the Telegraph was the source of the original article, I think, that you were looking at.
Yeah. There was a claim that it was a fire hazard in some way, but you can decorate inside.
Yes,
if you want to.
It's because spontaneous wreath combustion
only happens in communal areas.
It's a big thing. Now it's okay to hang that inside your flat.
Yeah.
Basically, the letter goes on to say, if you don't remove this by December 8th, which is this past Monday, it will be removed by Portsmouth City Council. They'll come and confiscate your wreath and your little non-standard apartment number Any items removed will be subject to a release fee of £25, which must be paid prior to any items being returned. They're going to hold your wreath for ransom.
This is on their apartment door.
Yes.
It has to be.
It's hanging on the apartment door. You can see a little picture here.
So you can put it on the inside of the door.
I guess so.
And that's not going to pose a fire hazard.
Well,
these are probably...
It might, but it's okay. And yes, it looks like it's a steel fire door, which you would assume would be part of building codes.
Yeah.
Again, this is just so ridiculous. Now, the government of the city councilors, it's run by the liberal Democrats, the Lib Dems, who are to the left of the Labour Party. Labour is currently the ruling party in England, in the United Kingdom, which is why Sir Keir Starmer is the Prime Minister, because his party won the most seats in the most recent parliamentary elections.
And he's head of the party for now.
Right. It's similar to the way Israel does their deal. Like whichever party gets the most votes, if they can put together a coalition to get a majority in the Knesset, their parliament, then your party gets to pick the leader of the party as the prime minister. That's how that works. Same thing in the UK. So Sir Keir Starmer, or two-tier Keir, is leading. The Lib Dems are to the left of them. And so the Lib Dems are telling the people who live in Portsmouth council flats, because your wreath is non-standard and may pose a fire hazard on the outside of the door.
Well, some of the council flats that I have seen over in the UK look a bit like motels. So you've got a staircase that's outside, it's often metal. You go and you walk down this balcony, and then your apartment doors, your flat doors, are on that long corridor. Others are high-rises. Remember that one terrible fire?
Oh, right, because they put the cladding on the outside of the building for insulation purposes that turned out to be very flammable.
Terrible. So you can kind of understand, but by saying you can put it on, you can decorate however you want to on the inside.
Right.
They're not worried about fire.
No, it's clearly that's not the issue. It's the fact that you're putting an emblem of Christmas
I
on the
think
outside
that's
of the building.
really what it is. Some of these councils, I don't know what the makeup of the council in Portsmouth is, but many of these small town councils and some of the big city ones like Birmingham, they have gone predominantly Muslim, which is fine. If you want to elect Muslims, that's fine. But when you get a large Muslim population on the town council, and in some of these cases, the mayor is Muslim, then they're starting to steer everything towards anti-Christian and pro-Muslim. Sadly, I think that a lot of England has moved in that direction. Keir Starmer is definitely promoting that idea. London being the biggest city, a very influential city in banking and trade worldwide, has a Muslim mayor. Well, that's fine, except he has ruined, and it's not because he's Muslim, he has ruined London. Absolutely ruined it.
It's his very woke policies that are,
That's what it is.
Charging a fee for gas burning, internal combustion engines to go into the center of the city.
And having a major shopping district, Oxford Street, and saying no driving in here at all, only foot traffic. So, okay, how am I going to get my packages from from this 6-block long, or however it is, it's not a short street, to where I can park or catch a bus?
It's
I know. There's no solution to it.
There's no logic to it, and clearly the way he Mayor Khan has been dodgy when pushed for answers at meetings with the what is the council?
The London County Council.
London County Council. One of the conservative members on the council has pushed him for answers regarding the grooming gangs, which, it's well known in England that this has been going on for a while. we here in the U.S. may not be quite as aware of the story, but in places like Rotherham, where men of, well, almost exclusively Pakistani origin were grooming and abusing.
Grooming is the nice word for what's
is the
going
nice
on.
word. Yeah, we're just avoiding the words so
They are
that we'll get
taking
triggered.
advantage of young girls.
And those girls were almost exclusively English.
Yeah.
By which I mean Anglo-Saxon in ethnicity. And the police really kept a lid on it because they didn't want to appear to be, they didn't want to be accused of racism.
Because of the woke politics.
Because of the woke politics, right. So sadly, this has just allowed the situation to fester so that when it finally does come out and people realize how extensive the problem is, and Rotherham is just the one that's coming to mind. I know there's several other communities where this has been ongoing. And I kind of address this in my book, Bad Moon Rising, which deals with the culture, and I'll put that in air quotes, of different Muslim nations. Pakistan is one where 60% of male truck drivers thought there was nothing wrong with them taking advantage of boys 12, 13 years old who would hang out at the truck stops for that very purpose. Or in Afghanistan, where boy play, and that's the translation of the Afghan term, bacha-bazi, I think. And the term boy play, if that sparks some image in your mind, you're probably right, and maybe not even right enough. There are American soldiers who reported hearing boys screaming and going to their commanding officers and being told, just ignore it, just let it go, it's their culture.
Yeah.
Because the warlord, who was supposedly, allegedly, we have to say, our ally over there, that's kind of their thing. They demonstrate that they are the man by the way dogs demonstrate dominance over smaller dogs, if you will. And the boys over there are often subject to it. In fact, and I document this in the book because, again, this isn't hearsay or somebody said that this is actually documented in if I remember right, a CBS News report from around 2012, that one of the reasons the Taliban had so little trouble conquering the country before, we went in after 2011 and kind of pushed them out of the way for a while, spent $1 trillion and then let them back in, and we're still sending them money. One of the reasons the Taliban was able to conquer the country so easily is that people in the villages were thankful that somebody who did not practice boy play was coming in and taking over and kicking out these warlords. So, yeah, sadly, this is part of Islamic culture, frankly, where children are not valued in any way, shape, or form except for what services they can provide to men.
That is not solely practiced by that particular culture. There are individuals in that, no matter what the background is, no matter what the skin color is, who want to take advantage of the weaker person, in this case children. And it's one of the big things that Skywatch TV and Whispering Ponies Ranch have been working towards for the last 10 plus years. And if you want to know more about that, you can go to whisperingponiesranch.com. You can also go to Skywatch TV. If you support Skywatch TV's store, let's just put it that way. It's a really great way you get a product, and some of it, any of the proceeds, they go to help those kids.
Support the work at Whispering Ponies Ranch.
Well, getting back to...
you can donate to Whispering Ponies Ranch directly.
You can.
It is also a 501c3.
You can sponsor a pony, which is a big
sponsor
help.
a child, really. They're doing that more than sponsoring the pony.
Oh, that's even better. I like that better. But here's the thing. Getting back to Sadiq Khan, he said the last couple of days, he is now saying that he's really glad that Mamdani is the incoming mayor of New York because the two of them can work together. And I think somehow he's expecting Mamdani to act like a lightning rod.
Well,
protecting Khan. So if Mamdani is doing it, then they'll all go, well, yeah, okay, you in New York, you're working with New York. I see it. You're doing a great job. And that explains why you're in New York so much. Because Sadiq Khan travels a lot, just like Keir Starmer. Sir Keir Starmer travels a lot. That's why I call him not here, Keir. He is out of the country most of the time.
Yeah. So they don't like me back there. I'm not going. I'm not going back there.
They don't. But I asked you to bookmark France.
Oh, there was a couple of things I want to talk about.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to hit Do Not Disturb on my deal here. Pakistan has agreed to take some of the leaders of the grooming gangs off the hands of the UK in exchange for Britain handing over Pakistani political dissidents who are living in the UK. So, apparently that proposal was made last week Thursday in Islamabad with the Pakistani Interior Minister and the British High Commissioner Jane Marriott. So say, you hand over anti-government figures and we'll take the grooming gang leaders out. Like, okay.
Well, bookmark the idea of immigrants in Great Britain, and we'll get to that after we go to France.
Okay.
Jean-Luc Mélenchon, leader of the biggest far-left party in France, says the following, quote, Christianity is patriarchal. And women have to cover up and submit to men. In Islam, women submit to God only, therefore their veil represents freedom.
Okay, Monsieur Marson, tell us you don't know anything about Islam or Christianity without telling us.
I know,
you don't know
this
anything
is
about Islam or
a
Christianity.
white man.
Yeah.
At least he appears to be white in the video. He's speaking French in the video. I don't speak French. We should get Sandy to. But this is what I've just read to you is a translation of what he is saying. He's saying, embrace Islam, not Christianity. Lift up Islam, not Christianity, because it's better for women.
Let's be charitable and say he just has not read either the Quran or the Hadiths or the Bible.
Well, that is being charitable. My comment was that Charles Martel would be
spinning in his grave.
He would be. He was known as the Hammer.
The Hammer, Martel. Yeah.
Because Martel stopped the Muslim incursion into Western Europe.
He did. The Moors, was it the Moors or the? I'd have to go back and look at
Mamluks.
It was the Mamluks not yet. It was the 8th century, so this would still have been an Arab army, or Berbers or both, one or the other. But
the
anyway,
Moors
it was
primarily in North Africa and Spain.
Yeah, but the Arabs had conquered all of North Africa by this point, so everything from Egypt to Mauritania was under the control of Arabs. And they crossed over, and they had conquered all of Spain by that point. Then they crossed over the Pyrenees, the Alps. I'd have to look at a map. Anyway,
southern Italy, you mean?
No. They crossed over the mountains into southern France.
Oh, okay.
And had gotten to Tours, which is halfway to the English Channel. So they were a good distance across France. And as I understand the strategy, Martel Charles let them advance until he got them to a battlefield that was advantageous for the Franks. And it was then that he engaged with them in battle, and just massive victory. And they never crossed into France again. Maybe a raid here and there, but Spain, it took the Spanish like 700 years then to push them out, the Reconquista, which is why I think the Spanish recognition of Palestine as an imaginary independent state, even though their diplomats don't want to live in Ramallah because it's dangerous for Europeans.
I know.
And the Wi-Fi is really bad.
How ironic.
Yeah. So they want to live in Tel Aviv and pretend that they're actually ambassadors to this imaginary state. But you think the Spanish, who had to fight for 700 years to push them out,
I know.
guys like El Cid, it was just...
And later on, Isabella, who actually led an army.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that isn't often taught. When we hear about how Isabella and Ferdinand kicked out all the Jews in 1492. It wasn't the Jews they were trying to kick out. It was the Muslims, but because they considered the Jews to be sort of Muslim adjacent, they got caught up in that.
Well,
they weren't targeting the Jews. It was the Muslims, because for years, for centuries, the Muslims say, oh, we've totally converted. We've been baptized. We accept Jesus. Yeah. And then after a few years, they would rise up and get stabby. And the Spanish would have to go to war again. So this happened again and again until they finally just said, okay, all y'all get out. And sadly, the Jews got caught up in that.
You know what? A lot of people, if you haven't studied history, you're possibly not aware that France wasn't France back in the day. It was part of Franconia.
Yeah.
And that included the Germanic-speaking countries. And they formed this huge sort of pan-Franconian or Frank super country, but they fought amongst themselves.
Yeah.
So it didn't hold together any more than the EU is holding together today.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It was maybe 75 years after Charles Martel where Charlemagne kind of unified the whole country. And then, of course, he divided it between his three sons on his death, and they fought with each other and kind of split apart again. So, yeah, it wasn't France as we know it. Just as Rome and the Vatican didn't become the Vatican as we know it until about the time of Charlemagne.
No, they were all of these little principalities within that big landmass that we call Italy.
Well,
and they fought against each other, and Rome itself was its own little principality.
Yeah, but I mean in terms of religious authority.
Oh, I see what you mean.
A lot of people will say today, well, you know, the Bible's only the Bible because the Vatican decreed blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I'm sorry. to talk that way to anyone from one of the Eastern churches today, and they would still laugh at you. You know, Christmas is only Christmas because they made it Christ Mass. Okay, but the Eastern churches celebrated on January 5th. So, you know, no connection there to, not even a sort of connection to Saturnalia.
Yeah, I know.
So, but the Vatican only became the main power because, frankly, the Muslims overran all the other centers of Christian authority. The main cities, there were like 5 bishoprics that were the main powers. Rome was one, Constantinople was another. And by the time of the end of the greatest extent of Islamic conquest, those are the only 2 that were left. You had Antioch, you had Jerusalem, and you had Alexandria. And those were all conquered in the 8th century. 7th century.
By the way, a lot of this information you are giving right now is going to be in your upcoming 2-volume set. You just are about to finish the first volume, writing the manuscript.
Yeah.
So it's a long history of the War of the Watchers.
Yep. And it'll focus on the war in the Holy Land, so it's not going to get much. And I'm going to have to skip over a lot of stuff. Otherwise, this could wind up being a 7-volume set or something if I'd really got into the Crusades.
People are
and all
probably listening to this and going, yes, go for 7.
Well, maybe, you know, once we get past the first 2, we'll go back and redo, you know, do something on the Crusades. But there's been so much written on the Crusades by better authors.
I don't know, I think
maybe not from the supernatural standpoint.
Well, that's what's important about it. There are authors out there who are more historians.
Yeah.
And others who look at the religious war, like Ibrahim. But to look at the spirits behind it, the theopolitics taking place behind the whole thing, is very important, which brings us back. Did you bookmark immigration in the UK? Well, in previous decades, there were a lot of individuals, families from Poland that chose to find greater freedoms in the United Kingdom. So they moved there.
Right, yeah.
And they are wonderful, about 100,000 of them. They are wonderful citizens.
There are that many in Chicago.
They contribute.
I grew up around a lot.
Yeah,
My best
I know.
friends were all, had ski at the end of their name.
I know. They contribute to the economy of the country.
Mm-hmm.
They are wonderful individuals, hardworking. They're now starting to go back home to Poland that they left for greater freedoms in the UK because Poland has far greater freedoms now.
Yeah. Poland is, along with Hungary, and I think Hungary even more so, have turned out to be the countries with the most common sense in the EU. And they recognize the dangers posed by unrestricted immigration. At least they've got enough memory to think back to the 17th century in the time of King Jan Sobieski saving Vienna from the Ottomans, Hungary, who had to fight off, with military heroes like John Hunyadi in the 15th century.
Poland is a border country to Ukraine. So,
it is, yeah.
With Ukraine war still ongoing, Poland's had a few incursions that appear to be drones from Russia. So moving back to Poland with the idea that, okay, there's always that possibility that our country may become embroiled in a NATO war, they really have to want to get out of the UK.
Yeah. Well, given that the UK is throwing people into jail, like Lucy Connolly, spent, 3 years in jail for a tweet, and this was about the Southport killer who...
She
posted something about the
killed children.
Right, killed little girls who were at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. Went in and started, stabbing these girls who were like age 6, 7, 8, 9. And she posted something about immigration and then deleted it 8 hours later. And even with that, the police came, arrested her, and she was convicted of spreading hate or something, and she wound up spending about 2.5 years in jail.
She didn't even originate the post. It was a share.
Oh, she shared it from somebody else.
And then when she realized that it wasn't verified, she quickly deleted her repost of it.
Yeah, but that wasn't enough to satisfy the authorities.
No, and there are other individuals who have gone into jail, into prison, for months and years because of hurty words.
Right. So the Poles, who know a little something about freedom, having escaped from the
USSR.
under the thumb of the USSR, now going back there because it's more free. Another example, a teacher in the UK, primary school teacher from London, was suspended and then fired for pointing out to a student that the United Kingdom is still a Christian nation.
I saw that.
And he started when the teacher caught students washing their feet in the bathroom sinks in the boys' bathroom, which is a violation at the school is a secular school, so prayers are confined to a designated room. It's like, all right, you can pray, but you got to do it in there.
Right.
But foot washing in the bathroom sink, that's just right out. So he addressed the group and explained the rules and was trying to emphasize, look, in Britain, we're tolerant of all faiths, Jews, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, but you can't wash your feet in the sink. One of the pupils took offense, claimed the teacher said the school wasn't religious, and suggested an alternative. Specifically, the child reported the teacher stating, quote, Britain is still a Christian state, end quote, which, of course, given that King Charles is officially the head of the Church of England, which at least nominally, meaning in name only, is a Christian denomination. But then the teacher allegedly said, quote, if you want that, there's an Islamic school a mile away, end quote, a school that accommodated all Islamic religious practices. So, police from the Metropolitan Police, London or Scotland Yard. No, the Metropolitan Police.
Met Police.
Okay, Met Police, not Scotland Yard. They got involved, the child abuse team, to investigate a potential hate crime. The inquiry was dropped. However, the teachers suspended the school suspended the teacher in March of last year and then fired the teacher for gross misconduct this past February. So he is now suing the local authority. But it just gives you an idea of where the UK is right now. But sadly, Canada's not far behind.
I know. I watch a lot of historical drama, and I read a lot of historical books. And a lot of that research is because, A, I love history, but I do it for the Red Wing Saga. Well, in the beginning in Henry VIII's reign, when he decoupled from Rome and became himself the head of what became the Church of England. And so you had now a battle not just between countries, but all, because the Pope issued all these declarations and would say to Spain or to France, if you really love me and you want to, essentially, if you want to get in good with me, I'm the Pope.
Yeah.
I'm today's Pope, because there was a revolving door there for a while. Then you have to go to war with this guy or this gal, whichever. Yeah. Well, beginning at that time, because you had Protestants, which you would have had Luther and Tyndale and a number of other Protestant leaders who had followers in England. When England totally embraced Protestantism, then you had major issues erupt, because suddenly all of the Catholics were complaining because we had been a Catholic nation.
Yeah.
And now you're going through and you are razing to the ground the monasteries and our cathedrals. You're taking out our statues that make us feel better. You're taking away even our feast days. They give us a day off from having to work for you.
Yeah.
They worked 7 days a week.
Not to mention looting whatever happened to be in the coffers of the monasteries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But add to that where you would have prosecution, persecution, and burning.
Yeah.
Christians were burned at the stake. Then you had Catholics who were burned at the stake. In France, you had something similar going on in other countries, but my point is, I think that we as Christians have been given a very wonderful, I don't want to use the word easy, but in the West, and we're talking about the Western nations that didn't capitulate to Islam, the West, we have had first world nations within the West. We actually have pretty good freedoms overall, and we're starting to see them curtailed. And eventually, if we believe in Bible prophecy, we're going to return to those bad old days when the government could tell us what we could and could not believe.
Yeah.
And if we didn't follow the law, and it's not just putting a wreath on your door, if you didn't follow the law, you would be imprisoned, tortured, slain, killed through burnings or decapitations or whatever they decide to do. We are heading into those bad old days, and there are parts of the world where Christians already are undergoing that sort of persecution.
Yeah.
Look at the Christians who are being slain in Nigeria.
Right, yeah. There was another church attack just last week, and I talked about it, I think, earlier this week on 5 and 10. This past Sunday, a pastor, his wife, and a few of the congregation were taken. That case last month where over 300 students and a dozen of their teachers were abducted, about 100 students. And that was about 50 of them got away. The students managed to escape very quickly within a day or so. Another 100 have been returned, but there's no word yet, at least that I've seen reported, as to what kind of deal was struck to get those 100 back.
And God
but you
bless
just can't
them.
imagine what those other students are going through.
They still go to church. They still go to their schools.
Right. And the the courage it takes to do that, because the church is not hiding. It's not like, sadly in China where the church has to go underground.
Yeah.
And we've got a friend
They
who
literally are underground.
will minister over there from time to time, and when he's over there, we can't make public that we know where he is or
Right.
when he's there because of the persecution. So they're literally meeting in basements. The churches in Nigeria are, they're there. They're out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
And the government's not defending them. So, we heard President Trump make noise about we're going to do something about it, and directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to draw up plans, but haven't heard anything about that now for a couple of weeks. Was that just a saber being rattled without follow-up? Because it doesn't appear that the Nigerian government has made any real effort to correct the situation.
I don't know. It is so horrific what's going on in some parts of the world, and yet here in the United States, we're and in the UK and other first world countries in the West, we're obsessed with hurty words.
Yeah.
And the fact is, true hurt, true spiritual warfare it's going on under the radar, but it's going to coming to a theater near you, coming to a church near you, coming to your home. And I just want to remind everybody, PID Radio, Peering into Darkness, these are spiritually driven.
Yeah. And I think here in the West, we are not really, here in the United States in particular, but in the West generally, I think Europe and the United Kingdom have gotten so secular that it's rare when you see somebody really standing up for the faith, like that, the primary school teacher who's now been arrested for the second time because he refuses to use the preferred pronouns of one of his students. Mm-hmm. So stories like that, when they come out, it's surprising, because most of the rest of the professing Christians in the United Kingdom and in France, Germany, the rest of Europe have just gone along with the program. But here in the United States, I think we're going to get to that where there will be a sifting that will take place. I know this past week we recorded several programs with Joe Horn, Donna Howell, Nita Horn, on Catherine Horn.
And the wonderful Catherine Horn, I love her so much, Joe Horn's wife. She's just cute as a button.
It's an interesting new direction for Skywatch TV. As Joe said, we're going to try something radical here. We're actually going to preach the gospel. Like, what?
Well, here's the thing. He was joking when he said that, because every program preaches the gospel. It's just that typically it's been bring on an author who's written a book about the gospel or some aspect of history or something they've noticed in the Bible. And now I think, Joe, and I think this is great, Joe wants to have more conversations. Yeah,
we actually talked about that in the Skywatch TV board of directors, of which I have been on the board for the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. And we discussed this and invited Donna, who is ordained through the Assemblies of God, to come up with theological topics to discuss. And I know she's one of the authors, along with Tom Horn and Larry Spargimino, of the book Final Fire, which argues that there will be a great awakening that is coming. And we definitely need it here, because there is a sifting that's going to take place, and people who are not firmly grounded in their theology and in the importance of that theology, who will just say, well, okay, I guess it doesn't really matter if I accept blah, blah, blah. And the blah, blah, blah is based on this new survey by George Barna at Arizona Christian University, showing that a majority of American Christians still believe that being good and doing good things for others will be enough to earn a place in heaven.
Oh, yeah, this idea that St. Peter is at the gate and he's going to weigh. It's very Egyptian, isn't it? We're going to weigh your deeds, and if they weigh more than a feather, then I'm sorry, you don't get in.
Yes, the crocodile god gets to eat you up. And they broke it down in the survey, and Barna's been doing this for decades, and sadly the trends are going in the wrong direction, as he defines a biblical worldview. When I first looked at that for the book, for one of the books back in 2017, it was like 9% of American adults had a biblical worldview. Now it's down to like 4%. And only, I think, less than 20% of self-identified evangelical Christians have a biblical worldview as Barna defines it. And that's believing in 5 basic tenets of the faith that are like Christianity 101. But Christianity 101 begins with, you are saved by grace, and that through faith, not by works, lest
any man should
boast. Yeah, it's a gift of God. 73% of Roman Catholics believe doing good things is enough to get a place in heaven. Less than half of evangelicals is 43%. Non-denominational Christians, 35% still believe doing enough good things will get you into heaven. I mean, that number should really be 0. 0% of Christians should believe that doing good works gets you into heaven.
It really should. And getting back to what prophetically, the hard times that are ahead, we need to be lifting up Christ now. Every one of us. That is our job. You have one job, and it's as a believer, you have one job, and that's to lift up Christ. Come in the flesh. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, risen, and he is coming back. They're very basic tenets of true faith in Christ. And those who are believers should be sealed with the Holy Spirit. That's the Lord hanging on to you. You've got the seal of the Holy Spirit in your soul, and that is the Lord hanging on to us, which I love that. But the day is going to come when our faith is going to be tested. But when your faith is tested, you become stronger. It's like working out. And Ephesians 6, we are armored sheep. But I'll tell you, if I have to put on heavy armor, physically heavy armor today, it would just knock me down. But I believe the Lord puts on armor that is just made for you.
Yeah.
And it's light when you start out.
Oh, better than Kevlar.
Yeah, it's very light. It's like cardboard, but held, by Him. It is light so that you can get stronger, and then He'll make it heavier and heavier and heavier because you're getting stronger and stronger as a sheep. And you need to go out and lift up Christ. And understanding, in the Red Wing Saga, I teach that trust is a weapon. It's truly a weapon. It's our shield. It's a defensive weapon.
Yeah.
Faith is what that shield is called, the shield of faith, trusting in the Lord to hang on to us, trusting in the Lord to have our back, knowing that our shepherd is right there with that hook and the rod, the staff and the rod. Those are weapons as well as, just ways to grab us by the neck and get over here.
Get back in line.
Yeah, but that day is coming. And getting back to Joe Horn, he closed every one of those episodes with the gospel.
He did.
It's really on his heart right now that we need to take every opportunity individually and as a ministry to share the gospel with our viewers.
Yeah.
Because every time you do it, that may be the last chance you get.
That's true. I love the way David Heavener put it, and the reason that he has titled the mini-series that he was putting out there, called The Last Evangelist, because for everyone that you meet at the grocery store, at the pharmacy, at the Walmart, wherever, you may be the last evangelist that person ever encounters. And that's really a wonderful way of putting it. So those shows will be coming in February on Skywatch TV. There are a number of others already in the can, as it were, but those are those are forthcoming and things to be watching for. And it is a direction that Skywatch TV is going to take more of in 2026.
Amen
so
to
rather
that.
than the author of the week or the author of the month, whatever, there will be a lot more of those issue-driven or theology-driven programs.
Yeah.
And so we will get into that. We'll get into, I'm sure we'll get into some of the weird stuff too, which Skywatch TV has always been known for. Like, what do we make of Genesis chapter 6?
Mm-hmm.
How do we, but more than that, I think we'll be talking about some of the difficult things. What is baptism all about?
Yeah.
What does true repentance mean?
Mm-hmm. Some of the stuff there are topics that you and I have tried to address for 20 plus years, but specifically in the Bible's greatest mysteries, and to a certain degree in Sci Friday. But we will, in 2026, Derek and I both hope to get back to Bible's greatest mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to realize, okay, honing in on the diagnosis, and I don't know how far we've gone in our talk here, but
we can probably wrap here in a minute. I just wanted to make one quick comment about, because I mentioned Canada earlier, and the reason I wanted to bring that up was because of this past week, as they're debating a bill called C9, which is the so-called Combating Hate Act.
Yeah.
They have actually stripped out from that bill, and this is based on an amendment proposed by Bloc Québécois, which is the Quebec separatist party.
Mm-hmm. Just let them go, for goodness sake.
Yeah, exactly.
Let them try to be their own country.
Our friends in the western provinces are like, please, America. Trump said, you make us the 51st state. Please, just take everything west of Quebec.
Not Quebec.
Yeah. No, we'll deal with Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and maybe British Columbia. We're not too sure about Vancouver.
Yeah.
Anyway, liberal MPs. And Liberals are the ruling party there. That's Mark Carney and his party, the party of Justin Trudeau. They're the ruling party in Canada, like the Liberals in the UK. They backed this proposal to remove a religious exemption from the hate speech laws in Canada. So now, if and when this bill passes, and it still has to go for a third reading before the House, so I'm not sure it's going to pass, but because the Conservatives are really raising a fuss about it. And if you're in Canada, boy, you probably want to get a hold of your MP and just say, hey, you got to shoot down this bill. Mm-hmm. Because to apparently the Liberals, the really secular Bloc Québécois, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, after 4 years of high school French and another year in college, you'd think I'd know. They stripped out this exemption. So presumably, if this bill passes and you, as a pastor in Canada, decide you want to preach on, say, Romans chapter 1 or Leviticus chapter 18, and you start using words like abomination to describe certain things that God has declared to be sin, you could conceivably be arrested.
Or if you say Merry Christmas, and someone says, that hurt my feelings, I know that's hateful, you're preaching to me, it will indeed go in that direction. Don't put that wreath on your door.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that wreath. Get that off there. But here's the great thing. In the meantime, if you're a Muslim woman, that veil represents freedom.
Yeah, ignore the fact that under Islam, your husband can beat you, for whatever reason.
If you're not veiled, you can be arrested. You can be killed. Yeah. You can be executed for not being properly veiled.
Again, that gentleman in France has not read anything of the Quran or the Hadiths or Sharia.
Apparently not. The other thing about Canada is they're part of the Commonwealth and they are technically under the sovereignty of the monarch in the UK. Mm-hmm. He is also Canada's monarch, and he's defender of the faith. He is the head of the church.
Yeah.
So Are you just going to say we don't want him to be our monarch anymore?
Well,
we don't want one. We've got, Trudeau and the others.
But he's head of the Church of England, so that's kind of, certainly the people, the representatives from that party from
probably.
Quebec. But, at least Muslims are speaking up on this and realizing that, hey, wait a minute, this would affect us too. I mean, this bill, if it passes with that amendment, could criminalize portions of the Bible and the Quran and the Torah. Mm-hmm. So,
well, theoretically, let's face it.
But this is the same religious establishment that threw pastors in prison for daring to hold services during COVID. Mm-hmm. So, again.
By the way, did you see that the COVID vaccine is now going to be black boxed?
I did see that.
Yeah,
CDC. This is just a couple of weeks after the head of the FDA said, we can say that this vaccine very likely harmed more children than it helped.
Mm-hmm. So there's a warning label.
And now is there a black box warning label? A new study that came out from Stanford.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Yeah, because
Stanford's very liberal.
And very much mainstream in the medical establishment. So we're not talking right-wing conspiracy theory website here.
And their first president was Jordan.
Yes, David Starr Jordan, who helped develop a lot of the stuff that wound up being used by the National Socialist Party to eliminate the undesirables.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was a mainstream big old eugenicist.
They are connecting this to increased instances of myocarditis and pericarditis, heart issues. Yeah. So, this is now, it's now in the mainstream. The mainstream is now admitting, maybe this mRNA technology wasn't so good after all.
Yeah, maybe we should have actually field tested that. Yeah. Well, speaking of things, Old People Report. I just saw my eye doctor, and I have been continuing to, I can have great visual acuity, those little panoptics lenses that are now in my eyes after the cataracts were removed. They are awesome. I love them so much, but I still get a lot of tearing and redness in especially my right eye, but also in my left to a certain degree. Doesn't cut the visual acuity down. It's just annoying. It's like being rained on, only it's your eyes. And they sort of feel oogie. So he says that I have optic angioectasia. It's not phantasia. It's ectasia. It just means that these are formations in where they're not supposed to be. That's the ect part. It's like ectopic pregnancy.
Oh.
The ect part means it's not where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I've got little, very fragile capillaries that are forming in my sclera, in my eye. And it's called optical or ocular, it's ocular rosacea. I don't have rosacea in my skin. I don't have the capillaries forming in my cheeks or my face or anything like that that gives me this big redness area. No, they're in the whites of my eyes. And that's really exacerbating what I was dealing with before, the dry eye syndrome and all of that, which may be related to Sjogren's. I'll find out in February. But I'm on and believe it or not, I'm on an antibiotic that doesn't really work against an organism. That's not what I have going on. It's part of an autoimmune inflammation reaction. That's what rosacea is. So this is actually the cyclosporin is actually working to switch off behavior in my immune system. So it's going against complement and cytokines and specific ones within that. So apparently, after a few months on this, many people with ocular rosacea, they show a vast improvement in the eyes, that the little fragile capillaries are gone, they no longer develop, the old ones are gone, and now your meibomian glands are working better because they were infected as well, and affected, I should say. So winning all around if it goes well. So pray for that, please. It would really help. I was talking to Jeffrey Martis, who does the covers for our Red Wing Saga series and also the other fiction books that Derek and I have put out. But he also does covers for half the great books you've ever read. Many from Skywatch TV, Defender, but also from other publishers. He's very busy, and he's extremely good.
We've referred him to other friends of ours with books where they wanted to get a really good cover.
He's incredible, and he's quick turnaround. Well, I had given him what I thought were going to be good. I'll have the manuscript finished so I can give him the word count, which is how he makes the spine width. For Book 9 of the Red Wing Saga, I said I probably will have that done by mid to late January, and now with the stuff that's going on in my eyes again, I can work about an hour before I have to take a break, and I just simply have to watch something on television or listen to an audiobook, which you can get lots of great audiobooks, so I can close my eyes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my report.
Yeah. Well, mine is really not much different from last week. It's just really considering the directions to go from here. The neurologist is of the opinion that what I've got is a condition called CIDP, which is chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy.
Very good.
It's like a Guillain-Barré syndrome where you get...
Get Elvis to sing that song.
You essentially lose function in your extremities, feet and hands. With me, it's not been as severe as it is with some. I was looking at some of the websites for CIDP sufferers, and there's an annual fundraiser they do that, a number of cities have it. And the logo is somebody in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. So thankfully, I have not been required to get in a wheelchair. And I think my primary care physician's recommendation early on, because the earliest appointment I could get with the neurologist was like 6 months out. So
but your primary care doc, he's a big believer in natural avenues, if possible.
Yeah, and non-standard therapies, which is why he's got me on off-label use of a drug normally used to treat opioid addiction, naltrexone. But at low doses, it helps arrest autoimmune issues. And he also put me on testosterone, which was mainly because it regrows myelin. There's good research that it helps to regrow the myelin sheath around the nerves, which is what my immune system is attacking. But as a side effect, it regrew the muscle that my body had consumed, because that's part of CIDP, which is why you find people with CIDP often in wheelchairs.
Yeah,
because
it goes
they
after
lose
muscle.
Right. Last spring, we were getting to like March, April last year, and I was having trouble getting up the stairs, the 4 steps from our garage to our back door. And I had dropped 20 pounds. I was below 175, which is a weight I hadn't seen since high school.
But it was the muscle that had disappeared.
Exactly. So it went through the stores of body fat and was working on muscle. So the testosterone has put the muscle back on, and now my weight is stabilized again where I was, which is around 195. But it's come back not as the love handles I used to have, but as actual muscle. And because of it's in the legs, even though my feet still flop around, I can at least walk with the cane as balance.
Right.
My fingers are starting to get affected, which mainly is a nuisance because, we can accommodate, by, okay, Derek, wear T-shirts, get old man pants with elastic waistbands, and that covers that.
So you don't have to do snaps and buttons.
Right. So it's mainly a nuisance when I try to type because my error rate is way up.
Yep.
So I may have to look into using speech to text at some point. But anyway, the recommended procedure is something called IVIG, intravenous immunoglobulin, which can, I guess in about a third of the cases, when people go on it, they go into remission. In other words, things get better. Mm-hmm. So the question is, because I'm on, I don't have medical insurance.
Well, we
were
don't.
priced out by Obamacare.
Yes, it's 8 to 10,000 a month that we don't have.
Yeah. Now, there are some financial aid possibilities that we'll talk to the health system about. But I'm also going to talk to my doctor about the possibility of just using steroids, because steroids, much cheaper. Long-term, you probably don't want to stay on them forever because there are some long-term side effects like osteoporosis and diabetes and weight gain. But
might get you through until
I get on to get on
one more
Medicare.
year, honey. One more year, and you can apply for Medicare.
That's right. We're inside of 13 months now, so just kind of rubbing my hands waiting for that. But the bottom line is, it's more of a nuisance than anything. It's not life-threatening at this point. I mean, CIDP really is not life-threatening at all. It just affects your quality of life to a degree. And thankfully, Sharon has been really wonderful in taking over things that I can't do anymore without complaint.
Why would I complain?
Well,
I love you.
I know. So
you do the same for me, honey.
I would.
I know.
So it gets to a point where, there are days where it gets a little frustrating. But then I have to remember that had this not come on, these neurological things, my primary care physician would not have sent me for the vascular testing that found the abdominal aneurysm.
Right.
So that's been corrected.
Right.
So we can keep working. And that's what we plan to do. And thankfully, I can do this from the recliner.
Amen. Well, I also, while we're talking about this, I want to thank everybody who's been praying for both of us.
Yes.
Many of you have written to us and let us know, and many of you have shared your own struggles, that you're going through things like this, or you're going through something that is a different kind of struggle, but life has become very lonely and financially or just spiritually very difficult for you. And when we get your notes, we don't always respond. So forgive us for that. But I can promise you that every comment, note, email, text, whatever, I stop and I pray for you. Every time you donate to us, which I know in some cases, you guys are doing sacrificially because you don't have a whole lot, but you're sharing a little bit of your don't have a whole lot with us. And we pray for you over that. And we are remiss for not always sending out the thank yous, but we want you to know that without your donations, seriously, we would not be able to do the things we've been able to do for Derek, because they are really expensive, the things you've already had done. But the Lord has provided, and He's used you guys to do it. So thank you for your willingness to, when the Lord nudges you and says, that extra $5 or that dollar, whatever it is, whatever you happen to give, large or small, trust me, we want to thank you, and we thank the Lord.
We truly appreciate that, because this year it's really been a blessing. There are many people who are in far worse financial circumstances than we are.
So much worse, or you're going through far worse,
physically,
physical trials. So
like your niece, Sarah.
Oh yeah. We've got family, we've got friends. Everybody seems to be going through something right now. This is spiritual warfare, but we've got a Lord who's already judged all of them, and He will be there to hold you in His arms and take you through it, just like He's holding us and taking us through it. Want to also thank all of you for your prayers regarding a new home for Grace and Glory.
Yes.
Their new family picked them up last Saturday, and we had a wonderful time getting to visit with them. We've known them from a distance for over 10 years.
Yes.
They helped us get the house that we're in now. They donated some out of their what they had sold their house. They donated a little bit of that to us, and what they didn't know is that was actually what helped us to put the down payment on this house. So we have known of them and communicated with them for over 10 years. Hadn't met them in person, though.
Right. And as it turned out, they were familiar with us for much longer than we've
long
been familiar
time
with them. Because when they were, well, they started following PID radio back in the early days, back in 2005, 6, 7, back in that time frame. And
when they were still in the military.
The two young ladies who, the daughters of the wife, the three ladies drove out here together, and the two girls were like, "We've grown up with you." Like, well, I guess we have been doing it that long, you know.
It was so much fun to get to meet them and to see what loving people they are, love Christ, love each other. The girls are adult age, they're college age, and there's a son who is in college right now, and our two dogs just fell in love.
They did. It was clear right from the start that the two, Grace and Glory, were just smitten with these young ladies. And,
I found my new human. I know that Mom and Dad will always love me, but I really like you.
Yeah, rub my belly. And they've sent us pictures since then, and they're getting acclimated to their new home. They love the new yard, which is a really big yard.
Much really bigger than ours, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we fenced our front and backyards together in one big space, that would be like what they've got now. So Glory is doing zoomies and chasing off the seagulls, apparently. They were a little surprised that she got a little growly with their college-age son, so we had to just send it back a note and say, no, that's Glory's way of saying, play with me. Bet you can't get this toy away from me.
Yeah.
So, no, she's not threatening.
Yeah, she sounds like she's growling, but she's actually talking to you.
Yeah. So, anyway, thank you for your prayers, because this was really a best-case scenario.
So
they had recently lost a dog of the same breed that Grace is, flat-coated retriever, and they're very familiar with that breed since they've been raising them for 30 years, breeding them for 30 years. So it is a wonderful situation for Grace and Glory. They're getting walks now. Basically, what it comes down to is this. We were no longer physically able to give them the home they deserve.
Right.
Yes, they had access to the yards, front and back, but they're not getting... Now they're getting the walks that they loved when we were both able to do it.
They get walked along the ocean.
Yeah. Walked them down. It's a wonderful situation. They're close enough to the ocean that they can go down there. Apparently, they visited the ocean on the way down somewhere on Pensacola, Florida, and Grace and Glory were not impressed. Once you had, to experience life on the road, this is no big deal.
Well, anyway, thank you very much for praying for all of that. And if you're a fan of 5 and 10, Derek will be posting...
Yes, Iron and Myth number 44.
That's 5 and 10?
Yeah, it's with 5 and 10. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Iron and Myth.
No, if you're a fan of 5 and 10, it is... You do almost 5 a week, but because of doctor's appointments, we had a doctor appointment almost every day.
Right.
Last week. So
got 4 out of 5.
When for whatever reason Derek can't do one, he'll let you know. And usually that post is on Facebook. So follow him on Facebook and on X, and you will see those posts.
Yep, or on Insta, or on... Yeah.
Yeah, you're putting some nice shorts, little reels.
Yeah,
and things
there's some. Yeah, there's a tool that we've been using for, and we're starting to use it for PID radio too. We'll try to get a couple of those out today as well. But anyway, So we're trying to take advantage of all the social media to get the word out, and
the social medias, honey. The cool kids always say.
Another Iron and Myth episode going up tomorrow evening. Judd Burton, Dr. Kyle Bell, Brian Godawa, Doug Van Dorn, who has become a theological lightning rod amongst the Reformed community.
Oh, well.
The Reformed community, not very receptive, generally speaking. That's not entirely true, but generally speaking to the teachings of, the divine counsel concept and the teachings of Dr. Mike Heiser.
Yeah.
And because Doug has embraced that, which is why he's got an online forum called the Reformed Fringe. So he's in the Reformed Fringe, but sadly there have been some guys who've been attacking him publicly.
Oh, we shouldn't be doing that.
We should not be doing that. No.
Look, we need to be one. The Lord himself prayed to the Father.
Yep.
Let them be one. May they be one, because he knew we'd be fighting almost day one.
Exactly. So anyway, So we're all, and of course, then Brian Cadella, who wrote the screenplay for the movie My Son Hunter about Hunter Biden.
Well,
and, so Brian's no. Boy, I've got to catch up. I'm not nearly as controversial as those guys.
I know you're really not.
Now, we talk about the Sibylline oracles tomorrow night.
Oh, now that's a fascinating topic.
Yeah.
The late Dr. Tom Horn would have loved that show because he read that and referred to those oracles quite a bit. So, be sure you catch that tomorrow. When does it go up?
It goes up at 7 p.m. Central Time in the U.S. That's UTC -6.
Yep. So, in the meantime.
Yeah, and tomorrow morning, Gilbert House Fellowship, our Bible study. And until then, I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert. Thanks for joining us. We love you guys. Bye-bye, everybody.
PID radio is on the air. Politics, prophecies, and conspiracy. Peering into darkness is what we do. Derek and Sharon.